A lovely morning to you, and thank you so much for keeping with us here on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Extra, which is an extension of Good Morning Uganda. But just a quick reminder, we are always here from 6:30. That is when we open up our live broadcast to you, and we come to your sitting room, your hotel room, your private room, wherever you are. We are there. On your phone, we are still there, because now we are in an era, one of technology, where my guest today, maybe it's not the topic that we will be emphasizing, but he's one of the pioneers, the people who are always so much regarding technology and artificial intelligence. Now, when I speak about technology and artificial intelligence, you just know that I'm having the Vice Chancellor, Victoria University, Professor Lawrence Muganga. Professor, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Robert. It's like you said, indeed a great morning. Good to be here on UBC. And greetings to the viewers that are tuning in this morning, and everyone else who will even watch it later. So it's a pleasure to have you all.
And Professor, before we even dive into today's program, which is looking at the value of Uganda's education, more so, is a degree still enough? There is one thing that I'm picking interest, and because I've followed you on almost all your social media platforms, that is the artificial intelligence gospel. I must say you're one of the people that are very passionate, promoting it, speaking about it. Briefly on that, why are you so passionate about AI? And you're always telling the world to interest themselves?
A very good question, Robert. So maybe to clarify it for you and our viewers, you know, since humanity was created, we are endowed or given the ability and the power to think, to learn, to communicate, interact within ourselves, and also solve problems, right? Those are 5 fundamental things a human being is entitled to do, and they are God-given. So now I want us to understand that fact. But today, and I said today, but it has been previous, I think this is something that is as old as 1952, thereabout. Okay, that's when the term artificial intelligence was coined in the early 1950s. So, and now this time, we have a new situation where computers, machines can think, can learn, can communicate, can interact within or among themselves, and can interact with us, and later on solve problems. So therefore, now we have 2 competing situations, the human beings and the machines. But the interesting part is that the machines do it better. Okay? Me, I can forget, but the machine is not going to do what? To forget. Me, I can get tired. The machine will not get what? Tired. Me, I will need food and energy to function. The other machine only needs power to function. So meaning, there is a time that is coming that they are going to be better than the human being. Actually, there is a belief that by maybe in the next 30 years, AI will be better than, more knowledgeable than the entire world combined. 8 billion people combined. So meaning, every business person, you know, business is about profit. Make no mistake, they can do CSR, they can do everything. That's one way of blindfolding us that we are helping you, don't worry, but we are also collecting profit from you. So, but the way they make profit is by cutting cost. Now, in the era of AI, the other machine that I told you that can think, can learn, can communicate, can interact with human beings and machines themselves, and can solve problems, then the businesswoman or man or companies will now go for these machines to do the jobs we are supposed to do. So meaning, if we don't pay attention to these, to AI, to the emergence of a thinking, a learning, a problem-solving machine, a communicating machine, then we are doing ourselves a disservice, because they are going to replace us, the way we do things. So that is why I raise this alarm on a daily basis whenever I get an opportunity. Why? Because it is us as a country, Uganda, and perhaps other African countries, which is normal. We have always lagged behind as an African continent, right? But the entire world is accelerating forward to become superpowers in this technology, meaning we will always lag behind if we don't catch up. We just need to actually not catch up, grab a plane if it's possible and fly and start moving with these people. Now, artificial intelligence as it is an equalizer. Because no one has figured it out all. So meaning we can play with the big boys and big girls and be there and bring jobs to our people, use it to make this country more productive, actually have maybe 10x of our GDP by just embracing AI. So that's why I get concerned that if we don't pay attention, then we are always going to remain underdeveloped.
Well, that is how passionate he is, and I was also very interested that you get a feel of Professor how he talks about AI, and is saying, well, there are opportunities, but also if we don't use them, we will be disadvantaged. I was just talking to him before coming on set, that imagine those days if you are going to a place and you don't know that place, how many stopovers, how many phone calls you have to make. But these days, just telling the person who is there, send me a pin, and AI will get you to your destination. Now that is just the simple version or something of AI.
Very simplified.
Very simplified. You go driving, 5 minutes, turn left, turn right. You know, it has the ability to direct you. That is the cheapest, I must say, the commonest that anyone can really have a picture of what we are talking about. Now, today we are looking at our education system and asking ourselves the value of attaining a degree in this generation. Professor, many years back, if someone went to school and attained a degree, the entire village would celebrate. And definitely you wouldn't even have challenges looking for a job. The jobs were automatically there. But in today's world, is a degree the end of it?
So again, very interesting observation. Traditionally, a degree was something cherished. And you're speaking to someone who carries 5 degrees. Now, I don't know if those 5 degrees have been of help to me, all of them, or not. But we sometimes compare apples to oranges. The past times, this is when Uganda was emerging. The administration that was set up needed people to do the things that were needed to do to function as a state, as a country. So, and then there was the production that was happening was done in a rudimentary way. So someone had to use some form of technology, some organized way of doing things that emerges from formal education. Remember that the people who colonized us, the unfortunate part of our history, is that there is a particular education they gave us, which is as old as about 150 years, okay, elsewhere. Then it comes to us, and we embrace it as it is, okay? But they needed workers, and obedient what? Workers. Those who are supposed to follow instructions. Don't think out of that box. Don't think without it. Stay in the box and deliver what you are told to deliver. That is the education we have, okay? To this day, okay? It is producing people who are supposed to conform to staying in a box and follow the instructions. And those people you see who actually get out of it, become so disoriented and tired of it and emerge out of it. Those are the people you may call the rebels of the education system and end up successful because they have failed and rejected to conform to what doesn't work. So the system is asking you, please become, stay here, answer these questions. You'll get 80, you're expected to get 100%. If you don't get 80% and you get 30%, you have failed, so you're going to repeat. Okay? So conformity, follow the rules, follow the order, answer those questions. Eventually, you are created to become a very good employee. When Robert tells me something, I have to listen. I have to follow. But that's why you get some people thinking, like whenever they do something out of the ordinary, they say, no, things are supposed to be done this way. And someone should ask, like, but who said that they should only be done this way? So when you start questioning that system, that's now out of the education norm. So therefore, the universities that produce, manufacture these graduates and degrees ought to have recognized that as we grow as a country, government can only create a few jobs. Okay? There is any government in the world who will create jobs that are sufficient or enough for its citizens. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. So what does government do? Government simply will create an enabling environment, a supportive environment, supportive to those who are innovative, those who should be able to empower people to become creative, to become innovative, forward-thinking, problem solvers, and then they can create things. And those things, startups, companies, can offer jobs. And even universities are supposed to benefit from that environment, to look at the problems that exist in society, and then craft some learning around that particular problem, and help students to experience this problem. And then as they exit the system, they have a solution, they have crafted production. That solution that addresses that problem. Any education that does not trigger production, that emphasizes sitting time the way we are seated here, for 3 years you are seated in a classroom, that is dead education. Even the degree you get is dead, because you can only show people that I sat in a classroom for semester 1, semester 2, semester 12, and 3 years, and these are my results. I even have a first class. That's the only thing you can show. Does it mean that you can actually solve society's problems? Not necessarily. But society is looking for problem solver. Okay? If you can't solve any problem, if you can't cause any positive impact in your community, in your society, then you are not educated.
Now, Professor, you mentioned that education should be giving us actually problem solvers.
Correct.
Now, here we are, and at times it makes me ask, what is the purpose of education? Because when we look at people who have been problem solvers, this is not to discourage people from advancing in education. People have been problem solvers. When you go to our informal sector, either in the field of technology, you wonder how a primary 3 dropout can look at an automatic gate or electric gate, and then just sitting with a few colleagues, the gate you're proud of, you imported from South Africa, he tells you, he looks at something and he says, we can do this. And then they are able to do it. You look at the innovation hub, when you actually what you find there is people from the informal sector. yes, we have these from the universities, but still they may do even more of assembling. Yet this informal sector will tell you, I got this, did this, thought out this. Even when you look at the other element of investment and developing the country, a colleague of mine asked me, but tell me how many professors, please don't get offended. He's a professor in economics, he has a PhD. Which business are they running? Some could be there, but he was telling me, look at that magnitude, look at the Kwagarana group. How many of these have attained high levels of education? But you find a man has so many kids, he's now having a factory, he's in exportation of agricultural products. So all these make us wonder, where is then the problem that people who have not attained these levels are then successful, are running this economy in terms of revenue, yet those that have gone so high, sometimes we don't see, they are not in tandem.
Robert, that is, someone would argue it's a mystery, but or a paradox that we need to fix, but it's not. We have championed its existence, okay? So now we are here, if you asked me, we are here in a struggle to restore the higher education promise. What was that promise? If you asked my mother, your parents, grandparents, or anyone who is watching us right now, the promise was, if you send your child, if you do your best, and your child goes through the education cycles as we know them, primary, secondary, to university, and they complete university, they assure, or they are assured of a job. Okay? That was the promise. That promise is no more. You agree with me? Okay? You are not assured of what?
A job.
A job. You are assured of going back and sit with the person who sponsored with you at home. That is, you're guaranteed. Now, but that goes back to what I told you earlier, that the education system we have is one that has placed superiority thinking, that whoever has the degree is the best product the country has ever had. But we also know world over that the backbone of any country is the informal sector. Okay? That it is not just good enough for you to come to the university, that you're going to be an active contributing member of society. No, there are also other things. Like traditionally, we have had vocational and technical institutions where parents have sent their children there just because they have failed.
Yes.
They failed primary 7, go to TECO, they call it TECO. You failed senior 4, go to vocation. If you have totally done what? Failed, and you are an outcast in the community. That's when you go to vocational institutions. Oh, you're done, you've finished.
Or lack of money, sufficient money.
Or lack of money.
Yes, again, they must take a cent.
Okay, lack of money. Even senior 6, the same. You go to these technical institutions. Oh, join the army. Oh, that's how people think, that those areas I've mentioned are inferior. That is wrong. The moment you attach some inferiority kind of thinking to something, now people negate it, reject it, and then it attracts also a pay that is commensurate to how you have profiled it in society. Yet we know that the most contributing members of society right now, it is everyone who has those practical skills, technically empowered from technical schools. You look at what members of, say, law enforcement do, okay? That is technical work from army, police, mentioned. That's technical what? Work. That is supposed to guard this entire country. for production to happen, for peace to thrive, everything. And for us, we accord it, we just look at it as something what? Inferior. I think it is the mindset that has to change, to look at different things that actually are beneficial to us, to the country, and we accord them the respect they deserve, and we encourage our children to be part of those areas, like in vocational, in everything, because that's where they are assured of a job. They are going to create a job. They are going to become actually business owners. Now, you talked about the professors. I always
just of economics, and
no.
you don't even have a canteen.
Let me paint for you a picture of a professor. How do you become a professor? Okay? I always say this in different conferences with my colleagues, that let's be honest with ourselves. Why is it that there is no professor who is a billionaire in this world that they are talking about in terms of dollars? Forget about Ugandan shillings. No one. Not in America, not in Canada, not in UK, not in China. No one. Why? Because the model of education we go through is built to make sure that we sit down, we become professional students as professors. And then we, yes, we become professional students. We learn to the time we die, and we are proud of it. How do you become a professor? You acquire your bachelor's degree. I want you to see how, and then you tell me if this kind of path, journey the professor takes is actually beneficial to the development of the Ugandan. Okay? Or it's not. You acquire a bachelor's degree. You get a first class. And everyone claps, you are great. Okay?
Some institutions even retain you.
They say, stay here.
Yeah,
you
previously,
can
Makerere University,
yes,
for many of us who got first, there were of course few, but now they are lecturing.
Yes, it's not just, don't even victimize Makerere alone. Everywhere around the world, they retain you.
First class
But you have a first class. Start teaching. You understudy someone. You become a teaching assistant. Then you do a graduate. They say, actually, you have to upgrade, do a master's degree. You go and do a master's degree. And then you come back and again, keep teaching as a teaching assistant. Then you go on and do they even sponsor you to do a PhD. You come and become a lecturer, assistant lecturer, or a senior lecturer with some experience. And then they tell you that if you keep researching and you publish, then you get the promotion. And the number of students you have taught, number of years you have taught, number of students you have supervised, then we will elevate you to this level. If you write how many articles, you populate the internet with those articles. It doesn't matter whether they are beneficial to society or not, but for you just write, okay? And be satisfied I have 50 articles, 100 papers written in reputable journals around the world, okay? But the 100 have never benefited members of your community at all. Uganda has not benefited from them at all. You just count them from the internet. And then you become a professor. Okay? A professor. Now just pity the other student, the professor of you're a professor of economics, professor of business. You've been teaching students from the day you had your first class. But to the day you have become a professor. But you don't even own a kiosk that is selling airtime, if airtime still exists, or is selling what is
Juice
this?
And this few
Juice and this famous chapati thing is called what?
Rolex.
Rolex. You don't even have a kiosk that sells Rolex. You don't know how businesses fail, how they pick themselves up, how they break even, how you even invest the surplus, the profits you have made. You know nothing. You are a professional student and a book expert. So you're teaching people to go and solve problems in society. So now you understand the kind of professor you're talking about. So it is not right. We have to correct that. Okay? We have to find a way of looking at allowing, okay, it's okay, we can remain the way the situation it has compelled us to become. Okay? Much as I would love it to change. But also look at people. Now, if you look at people like, say, you talked about the business community. You've talked about
group.
You talked about people like Mr. Wavamno. Talked about you talk about people like Dr. Sudil. You talked about you can talk about His Excellency Chirumira. You can talk about Ham. You can talk about Dr. Ham. You can talk about so many. Okay, these people understand practically how businesses grow. They are the best professors actually who can teach a person how to become an entrepreneur, a successful one. They are the best people, well suited to guide someone how to start a business, how to manage it, how to make sure you don't make losses, how to make it more productive, how to make profits, how do you reinvest the profit you've made. Those are the real professors, because they are the real professors of the real world. For us, we are the professors of an artificial world. And we should change that.
Now, Professor, you're taking me into a tight corner to ask, how then do we break even? And if possible, give me, because I have a professor here, a vice chancellor of a whole university, Victoria University. I want live examples. If in Victoria University, or how do we break even? Reason being, our courses, we have an external body in a certain country that verifies, even at a time can say you didn't come to review these courses, therefore they are no longer significant, don't teach them. Much as you have the higher educational curriculum and all that, the Curriculum Development Center, still what we are passing on is kind of regulated by foreigners, and they even have the power to say you did not go back for this course, so therefore you didn't report to us. How do we break through?
So let me tell you how the system works here. We have a body in Uganda, our own body, Ugandan body, called National Council for Higher Education. It is the only body that regulates any higher education that happens in this country. Okay. So any program offered by any university or other institutions must be reviewed and accredited by our National Council for Higher Education. But having done that, any student who may obtain that degree, if they go to any foreign country, the foreign country reserves the right to verify with the National Council for Higher Education or the institution that taught that program to see if this is an accredited degree program or a degree that is real. And then they will also review, depending on what you want to do with your degree, to see if actually it fits the purpose you're looking for. Sometimes it is going to fit, other times it is not going to fit. So, having given you that background, yes, these programs...
Because Professor, recently I remember I had a scandal of some expired degrees, yes. And then National Council for Higher Education was saying, well, we could have delayed to inform another body somewhere to peruse through and whether this is still, you know?
That one was a very, very unfortunate incident. It was not supposed to happen in the first place. What I need to tell Ugandans, and I've told Ugandans every now and again, that there is no degree that expires. It doesn't happen. So that language, we don't use it in higher education. A degree is not a product. For example, like medicine or food, like you may obtain from chips, whatever, from the shelves. No, education is not like that. You may have a degree right now, and there's something we call being a lifelong learner, continuous improvement, capacity building. The world changes. And that's why we are talking about a degree that is not relevant today, because the way it is being taught and the world we are in, the world has moved on. So we need to upgrade it You can only, like today, Robert, you may have obtained a degree in journalism, mass communication, but that time a camera they were using may not be the camera they use today. Okay? Today we have AI. AI that I can use to analyze things for me. You didn't have it that time. So
you didn't have drones.
Yes, a conversation like this, AI can generate it with, you get beautiful videos without using the cameras we are facing right now, right? That is the world we are in today. But what does it require you to do is to immerse yourself into the learning of these things, and you better yourselves, okay? Or yourself and all other people, they better themselves. So that is how learning happens. So, but learning a degree does not expire, or any learning you have done doesn't expire. But you can upgrade it. You can build your own capacity. You can improve yourself. You can learn new things. We are lifelong learners. We are human beings. We grow. So we only grow by informing ourselves, most of not just by age, but by also feeding our brains to grow. So that's the difference. Now, coming back to the practical things, because someone may ask, okay, you're saying that professors are just book experts and they mint papers to send to the cloud, like fill the internet. What should we do then? Okay, now, and that's where I now bring up the example of Victoria University, all right, where we have realized that, okay, the world we are in today is technologically driven, okay, is digitally inspired. So we also understand that jobs are not enough for everyone, and they will never be enough, okay, because no government, don't even blame this government, no government in the world will ever create enough jobs. No, it can only put in place an environment for actors to create different spaces, which spaces offer the jobs. Okay? Now, if we fail to play in that field, then we have also failed ourselves. So that's where us as universities, we need to produce graduates that are able to take advantage of the space, of the environment created by government to build businesses, to become innovative and creative and problem solvers. So what have we done? We have understood that digital is the way to go. Technology is the way to go. Because we know that much as you want to grow coffee and export coffee, the market cap for coffee in the world is only $500 billion. And we are not the only players. But the digital economy, it is 17 trillions. Meaning, if you are training Ugandans, do you train them to grow coffee, or you train them to fit in the digital economy? Coffee is great, we want to grow it, but you can also grow it and then have it sold in the digital economy. So meaning, we as a Victoria University, we are saying that once you come to Victoria University, you have to be digitally competent. Even competence is not enough. We emphasize digital mastery. You have to be digitally aware. Okay? When a computer is in front of you, you should be able to navigate it. When your supervisor wants you to give them a report, you are supposed to type it in minutes. Okay? If the computer shuts down, you should have the capabilities to troubleshoot it, bring it back to life.
Actually, it is the only university I've seen where you don't have to take these books.
Don't come with
your book. You don't use that at your university.
Don't come with your books. Don't come with your pens. Don't, because those ones are no longer, that's a skill. Like, no one is going to examine you on how best you have a very good handwriting. That's a dead skill. Okay? On how many books like you have written with your handwriting, and you have this black book, another book, another book. No one needs that. They need you to know some technical skills with your computer. So come with your laptop. Come with your tablet. Or even a very beautiful smartphone that can help you. And people are saying these things are expensive. No, I've not seen our students actually fail to have them.
Actually, people are saying Victoria University is a very expensive university for an ordinary
I'll also come to
Ugandan.
that. And
so that education you're saying
yes,
may not be for an average.
Listen, I'll come to that. And also as you come, you also make sure that you are ready to sit down in our classroom for only 15 hours a week. Okay?
Don't you be cheating me.
It is intentional. I told you we have an accrediting body called National Council for Higher Education. And the program must be accredited by National Council for Higher Education. And every program has particular hours it has to be offered, delivered. So we make sure it sticks within those hours. Okay? But, and that's the mindset, what other people have. They think that sitting in a classroom for 100 hours a week, you have done great. No, there's something you're missing. Right now, there's a gentleman I found here at UBC.
Yes.
He works here. He's also our student. Okay? That's the model. We are saying 15 hours in our classroom a week. The rest of the hours, find a place and work. Paid or not paid. Find a place and do what? And work. If you can't get it, let us help you get that place where you can work. Okay? In turn, all through your 3 years. Why? We need you to understand the real world. We need you to know that when you go to work, you have to keep time. When you go to work, sometimes you're going to disagree with people. When you go to work, there is work politics. It is real. It's not imaginary. When you go to work, sometimes you will not be promoted for certain political reasons. It is real. Understand it and learn how to navigate it. Okay? Learn how to deliver on time. Practice the trade. Once you're done your 3 years, you are technically able, technology-wise, but you also have 3 years of experience. Meaning, where you have been working, interning or being paid, they can retain you. And if they don't, you have the capacity to create something. Because we have exposed you to a world of an education that fits everywhere.
Even this knowing question of experience for a graduate, you have somewhere to show.
We have solved that.
You have
you
3
can
years
now
experience.
prove that while I was at UBC, I worked with UBC and Robert was my supervisor. I used to actually write his scripts on doing ABCD, and then he guided me to review this and come up with something better. And I have crafted my trade. I understand what I'm doing. Now, while the other person who went to other universities is going to say, oh, I am looking for a job. Which one? Anything. You understand? That's now a sign of a person who got very wrong education. So that's what we are trying to do. A program called experiential learning, where every student, beyond your academics, we need you to have experience, because we can't teach that for God's sake in the classroom. You learn it in the real world. Okay? You learn how to work in a team, how to collaborate on a particular document, on a particular project, how to work with a boss who is maybe who has anger issues, because that is the real world. Okay? How do you dress for work? That's the real world. Not to come in the classroom, because in a classroom you can come with sandals, what, and everything, but at work you have to be decent. So you learn those things in the real world. Wow. So we are teaching our students to have the technological capabilities needed. Number two, to have the work experience required. And number three, how to create their own startup, something, solve a problem in society. Because you go to school to become better and solve a problem. Not you coming out of the university and you become part of the problem. That is not acceptable. So that is the Victoria University we are managing.
Now, Professor,
we offer to the country. And number two, now we are in the era of AI.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence. Of which it threatens actually to take over people's jobs. Now we have also infused artificial intelligence into our programs. We have infused environmental protection into our program, because those are important threats for our population. So now that means when you have a Victoria University graduate, you have a graduate, you ask for a report, and they can give you a report in 3 minutes because they know how to use. They can make AI a part of their as their assistant, as their agent to do for them work. They know how to do these things. They can craft a solution that you would never have gotten just because they have entered and embraced the world of technology, and more importantly, the world of artificial intelligence. So they are problem solvers. They are up to date. They can apply themselves around the world, not just here in Uganda. They can do jobs from elsewhere without leaving Uganda. Now, someone is going to say, that sounds unrealistic.
And you have to pay for an arm and leg.
This is the terminology they use. Too good to be true. And even if it is true, it must be very, very expensive. I have good news for Ugandans. That Victoria University, this is not an advert. UBC,
this is reality.
Okay. Robert, you forgive me, this is reality. We are the most affordable chartered university in Uganda. You can even stretch it and go East Africa if you want. I want you to come to Victoria University. We are also digitally present. Go to our website and see our fees, compare them with anyone else that is chartered in this country. Then you will say that we are here to actually handhold every Ugandan who wants to receive decent education, practical, relevant education, that future-proof them and prepares them to confront a future we know little about. Okay? We are the most affordable chartered university in Uganda. And we have done that intentionally to make sure that this good education we are talking about, this working education, this education that empowers a child to see their potential, to see that thing that God created them, to see it out, to deliver it to this country, to make them more productive. We have made sure our education is affordable. A case in point, do you realize that we have, for example, a degree program where a student can only pay 500,000 a semester? 500,000
for a degree program.
For a degree program, a trimester, 500,000. Okay, look around and tell me where you're going to find that.
There, Professor, I agree with you.
A trimester where other students are paying 830,000.
I agree with you when it comes to that figures, if they're there. Now, well, time is fast spent. I must, looking at my clock. But one thing also, Professor, as we're talking about the value for our education, is a degree still enough? Now, there's this thinking that our education doesn't give us ability to think outside the box because of the rigidity you talked about, but also that when someone attains to the level of a degree, it's a way, there's a way to blind them to venture in sector because they know they have hit a dead end. Their brain thinks beyond. Now, as we wind up, I just want a message from you to those in various institutions, various universities doing degrees regarding how they should view the world out there.
Robert, thank you very, very much for granting us or myself an opportunity to be here on UBC Management. Thank you very, very much. We can't thank you enough when you give us an opportunity to educate our fellow Ugandans on matters that are really very, very important. We are, like I said, we are in a struggle or in the pursuit of making sure that we reclaim the higher education promise, because the promise was that you finish higher education, life, you have opened the gates of a good life. So we want it to be that way. So what can I tell my people watching us, our people watching us this morning? It is as simple as this. that every education you do, it should point you to looking around, like around your community, wherever you are situated, to identify a problem. And then you must use that education you are receiving on a daily basis to solve that particular problem. Any education that does not help you to solve a problem, that is stopping at you simply knowing, it is not good enough. Reject it. It is not good enough. Because knowing, and you become a master of knowledge, I've been talking about technology, AI, and everything. Right now, AI is more intelligent than me, or than both of us combined, or anyone in this room. So if it is all-knowing, then why should I claim to know better than AI? So therefore, we will use technology to help us solve the problem we have identified. So that means every education you are pursuing, make sure also it embeds technology into it. If you're not having technology as part of your education, if it is not empowering you to have the digital master I talked about, reject that technology, that education. It is not good. So strive to solve problems, strive to empower yourself with technology. Learn it. It may not even be within your curriculum, your program. Try to learn it. That is the world we are in today, and that's where we are going. So all parents, technology and technology and technology, I've said it 3 times, is going to be the game changer in the next 1, 2, 10, 20, and so many years to come. So you cannot allow your child to miss out. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Lawrence Muganga, the Vice Chancellor of Victoria University, for that information. Of course, for all of us, technology is the way to go, but also being problem solvers. The world is looking at us as problem solvers. The next time I'll have Professor, I'll put a question to him. In my mind, we know universities have large premises. Now a university in a small area as Victoria, mindset is also another challenge to that. Have a lovely day. See you tomorrow. God bless you.